So, we're legitimate.
Do it. Do it 100%, because I'm trying to.
We recognize that we are limitless.
You gotta be a champion to become a champion, right? Winning is a habit because we create habits that lead to good execution and success.
It is episode 33 of the Coaches Show. I'm Coach Mike Bianca of the New Orleans Hurricanes, along with my friend and co-host Ryan Gray, coach of AC Diesel. Tonight, we will have an update from our WNXL correspondent, Hailey Leyva, then two very special guests who we always enjoy speaking with and gaining insight from, titans in the realm of professional paintball and leaders of two incredibly impressive and winning teams, Coach Joey Blute of Tampa Bay Damage and Coach Kevin Bredthauer of San Diego Dynasty. They will help Ryan and I discuss all things Mid-Atlantic Major. But first, we want to take a moment and let you know about a special young man from Louisiana. You haven't heard about this story yet. We'd like to introduce you to it. Grayson Manning is a young man, plays out of LA Extreme in Slidell, Louisiana. He's very important to me and very important to a lot of people, especially the Hurricanes. He's attended the Paintball Combine. He's guested on several teams. He's such an up-and-comer player. He's just one of the nicest young men you'll ever meet, incredibly respectful. He was in a terrible accident, and he needs our help. If you can give, please do. So I just wanted to get that out real quick. Check in the link there. You'll see a link to a GoFundMe page to help Grayson and his family out. This show is brought to you by Maxed Sportswear. For all your custom gear, get Maxed at maxsportswear.com. And by BKI, best knowledge in paintball. Check them out at bkipaintball.com. Be sure to use promo code COACHSHOW when you sign up and register so they know we sent you. It's going to be an exciting show tonight, Ryan. Congrats, by the way, to all the women who've been chosen to represent Team USA in France. We'll be doing a full Team USA episode here real soon, and I'm really looking forward to that. That's going to be good stuff, too.
Yeah, hey, I was looking at that GoFundMe for Grayson, and it looked like they were trying to raise $10,000. Looks like we've more than doubled that already. The paintball community always seems to do things like that, right? Like when one of ours is in need, it seems like everybody kind of jumps in and becomes gracious really fast and helpful. And I mean, I think when I looked at it this morning at 10 o'clock, there was like 5,000 on there. And then I looked at it about, 3:30 and it was like 21,000. So it's awesome. Of course it's going to be a long road. So $10,000 wouldn't have even scratched the surface. Yeah. So somebody's saying, Christian saying, hey, it's like at 30K now. That's, fantastic. It's going to be a really long road for his family. So if you can be helpful, that's great. And those who already have, thank you. And just keep sharing it out. The more we can keep it going, the better.
Yeah,
all right. Well, let's jump into the show. So fight like Grayson. That's right. So let's bring Hailey in and get a quick WNXL. We missed the ladies at the last event. I love it when they're there. I think there's a different vibe when we have the WNXL. So we'll have them back in AC. So let's get Hailey and find out what's going on.
Hi.
Welcome.
So it's been about 3 months since the WNXL has been at an NXL event. The last one was NXL Vegas. And so in that time, I feel like there has been quite a couple exciting things that have happened that I'm excited to share. So to start off, there's a couple teams that have added players who have never played in the WNXL before. And I think that's great for the growth of the women's paintball scene because teams like Tiki's Ohana and Angels, who are already newer teams, they're adding newer players to their rosters. So Tiki's Ohana, who also had an amateur line who would go and play like MVPS and things like that, kind of to prepare them for this. They've added two players, one which is Kelly Watson and the other one is Brittany Marshall. And this will be their first time playing in the WNXL in Atlantic City. So that's pretty exciting for them to get some experience on our women's pro field. Another team who added some players was the Angels. they have a player actually from WNXL Europe. Her name is Megan Gill, and she plays with Dracana. And so it'll be interesting to see them add some experience to their roster other than their players who played last year. And then they also have a player named Vivian Pham, and it'll be her first time playing in the WNXL as well. So that's pretty exciting for these girls to get some spins in our pro division now. And it's really cool to see the growth of our league. Lastly, there's the Femmes Fatale, who added Kat Secor, and she has a long history in paintball. I got to play with Kat 2 years ago on Destiny, and so she's played on Destiny. She played on Femmes 15 years ago, or not 15 years ago, more than 15 years ago, in 2005 when she was 15 years old. And so it's cool to see like legendary names like that in women's paintball come back and play in our WNXL. I think that's so awesome and inspiring that she's been such a big name in the sport for so long, and maybe some of the newer girls who haven't heard of her before, like, are getting to see her as a big face of our sport. So I think that's awesome. Something that's not WNXL related, but I think was pretty cool to share, is that Nikki McEvers is now going to be an assistant coach for Aftershock. And that's so cool for women in the sport because she's coaching at the pro level. She already coaches the Heroines, and now she's going to be helping coach Aftershock. So that's super cool to see her making moves like that. She coached Ironman before, but now also coaching Aftershock is pretty awesome.
Yeah. No, I think it's always great to mention that, Nikki does a great job.
Yeah, she's a good role model for a lot of us girls.
Excuse my ignorance, but would Kelly Watson happen to be the Kelly Watson from The Family?
That'd be Keely.
Yeah, I don't think
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be Keely Watson. Yeah,
It's
Keely
close.
Ryan.
Very close. Yeah, you're just one letter off.
Yeah, very cool. All right. Well, we're excited that we're going to have you girls back at Atlantic City. And I hear there's lots of things going on with potentially like where the finals will be played. And we'll kind of dig into that and shoot updates as we hear more, right? We'll post those on our social media kind of as those things come about. But yeah, it's exciting too to see the teams, especially those newer teams that are coming in, continue to like grow their roster out a little bit and develop their roster, just because it means they're trying to stick around, right? Like when you see these teams kind of get down to like 6-7 players, it's like maybe they're not serious, right? Maybe they're thinking about pulling the ripcord. So that is exciting. And it's great to have Kat back. Like she's already
100%.
blowing up social media. Yeah.
Yeah, she's perfect for this sport because she's so into like fitness and things like that. And she actually has specialized fitness programs for paintball. And so I think she's going to go out there and kill it. I had the honor of playing with her a couple years ago, and she's just amazing. She has the best spirit too. Like she's a great person to have in the pits.
Yeah.
Very positive. Awesome. Lots of high energy. Yeah.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah. So Rich is asking, what are your predictions for the WNXL? It's hard to do that as a player, but we'll put you on the spot real quick. Who's the top 4?
Top 4. Well, of course, I'm going to say the Cheetahs. Other than that, I would say Vibe, Heroines, and High Rollers. I think it'll be similar to NXL Vegas. Now, there might be some teams that'll sneak up on us, but I feel pretty good about that. I know a lot of the teams had really solid practices this past weekend, including us. So, but yeah, I would definitely say Vibe, Cheetahs, Heroines, and High Rollers. Top 4. I don't know who's going to win. I mean, hopefully it's us, but you never know.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Hailey,
we'll see you in 2 days.
See you there. Yes, I'll see y'all there.
All right. Well, I love the WNXL is such a cool part of what I think is evolving in this manifestation that's happening. And when I talk about manifestation, I don't mean like we believed it and then it started to occur. We spoke it into existence. I mean that like this thing just continues to grow, right? And that, with youth paintball and the women and, with the expansion of the league, it's always dangerous. I shouldn't say dangerous. There's kind of a weird tipping point that occurs anytime they do an expansion, right? Like where we saw it in the men's league, a few years ago when they went from 16 to 20 and it just took so long. Really, we're just now kind of at a place where all 20 teams are pretty good. There's still obviously those gaps we've talked about, but it's really, it could have gone really, really bad, right? It could have diluted the pro bracket so much that it was just no longer fun to watch until Sunday. And I think maybe there were some matches that kind of went that way, but it's just not that way anymore. So it's interesting that now the women are kind of going through that, but it seems to be, coming together really quickly. If that makes sense.
Right. No, absolutely makes perfect sense to me. And I'm excited about it. I've started paying a whole lot more attention to it, and I'm really excited about the Team USA in France, and hopefully they get their back-to-back dubs.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's bring the boys in and start talking some stuff.
Talking some stuff is a good way of putting it. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hello.
Hi. Hello. All right, guys. Well, let's kind of jump right into what your thoughts are going to be about Thursday. We can really cook, and we'll start with you, SK. Kind of what are your thoughts on the brackets as far as the top and the bottom, and who do you see coming out of those? We'll do this really quick, maybe 3 minutes. Just kind of give your brief overview of how you see this thing sort of shaking out.
For me, if I was just going to pick who I thought was going to win.
I think there's something really weird going on with your microphone there.
I am robot.
Yeah, you sound like a robot.
Okay.
Mike, why don't you give us your thoughts while Kevin is working on his mic?
Oh, well, I think you're going to see it's going to be a bloodbath. Giving these teams, these 10 teams, 6 weeks more to work on this. It's going to be great. I think you're going to see it. I think you're going to see a lot of fast execution. So, we had a lot of fast points, or rather low-scoring points at the first event. I think that might change a little bit here with everyone knowing the layout as well as they probably do at this point.
Yeah. And who do you see coming out of each side of this?
Man, I'll tell you, honestly, I think that the matches that are going to be most impressive to watch for me, I'll just go through it real quick. I think you're going to edge out Revo. I think the Blast Camp ML Kings match is going to be incredibly close. Currently, I'm giving the edge to Blast Camp, but you never know. Either way, one of those teams is going to meet up with the Russians. I think the Russians are going to take that one. I'm going to give the edge to Diesel if you end up facing off the Ironmen. That's going to be an incredibly close match. I think, the Damage, Joey, I think you guys are going to put Aftershock away. The X Factor Heat match, to me, is going to be the one to really watch. That's kind of the linchpin on what's going to play out. I'm giving the edge to the boys from Texas. Well, they're both from Texas. Well, X Factor. So that was kind of a cop out there when I said Texas. But X Factor. I think if Diesel meets X Factor, Ryan, I think you're going to have your hands full. That's going to be a game to watch. It's going to be incredibly close. I think if Damage gets up early on the Russians, then it's a Damage game. I think if the Russians start off fast and lay some stuff up there, Joey might have his hands full. But I think that's basically where I'm at right now. So I'm anxious to hear everyone's else insight.
Yeah. Joey?
Oh, Damage wins.
For sure.
I love it.
For sure.
Other shit happen, but Damage is going to win. So I can get into the details.
Who do you think you're going to play? No, you don't have to go too deep.
Yeah.
All right. I think we're going to play Shock, Russians, and then X Factor. And that's just putting it on time, history, knowledge, teams that are there, teams that have been there. I think you guys played great there. I think you've had more time on it. But I think X Factor, if they pick up where they left off, they're going to be super hard to beat. I'm sure Heat's going to be better, but I know X Factor is going to be better. The extra time on the layout, I think, is a little bit of a farce as far as everyone's going to have something different. What we were doing to get to Sunday is going to be what we do to win the tournament as far as all the teams are concerned. Is there something you may have found? Probably. But is it real? Probably not, because we would have found it before then. So it's not like we don't know what's going to happen and how it's going to happen. The field's going to play the way the field plays. There's not some magical shot you found because you had 6 more weeks on it. So at the end of the day, I think some of the teams are going to have already overplay this and overthink this, and it's going to bite them in the ass. At the end of the day, the best guys are going to rise to the top, and it's whoever shows up that day. I mean, the only thing that's going to be, to me, it's a little screwy is that it's coming in cold, having to do what you have to do, right? Like, it's not like you've had 2 days to warm up to it. So based off of history, just strictly off of history, the only team that's ever won an event after an event was canceled is Damage. So by that logic, Damage wins.
Yeah,
you have a legitimate comment. You have that's good logic, and you have a legitimate argument about the warm up, right? The warm up, and that's why I'm giving the edge to Diesel in the Ironman match. I think that warm up match is going to be pretty important for momentum there. So,
yeah, SK.
I would agree with Mike. I think the teams like that get the, I won't call it a warm up match, but I think Red Legion and Ironman are disadvantaged because this field is going to be different. Like, not a lot, but a little bit. Like in Portugal, we played that. It was different than the one we played, even though it was the same layout. There was a little bit here or there. It was different. So I think that first match is really going to help teams like that. So I think all those teams have a little bit of an advantage over the Red Legion and Ironman. But Red Legion was playing really, really well, and Malloy played awesome in Portugal. So, I mean, I feel good about them too. Yeah, so I would like Damage to win, so no one else has won in like 2 years.
Got to keep it the family. If your team doesn't start with a D, you don't deserve to win. That's just facts.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to speak for every fan. I'm going to speak for every other fan on planet Earth and say, please, for the love of God, someone else win. If Tampa Bay Damage wins, I'm going to be really happy for my friend. If you don't, I'm going to be really happy for everyone else, right?
Yeah. Well, that's not ruining a good thing. Paintball's had its best couple of years, the last couple of years. So I think if somebody else wins, and we might spiral out of control and the whole league crashes, and then it's your fault for
slippery slope.
So
slippery slope.
Let's just be honest. Yeah. Things are good. Let's keep things going the way they are.
Yeah.
Right.
So
we
SK,
don't want it to be apocalyptic.
No, totally. Yeah. SK, I wanted to ask you a question too, because you mentioned something about Portugal, and I've had a couple of fun conversations with people who watched that tournament. And then we practiced. Right. I know. But like, we watched the tournament, on the stream. And then, we've been practicing a little bit on turf, and it's so funny how different the layout plays literally just on turf, right? Because of how far the guys can slide, right? Like, the guys were going to the Dorito side, diving at the can and sliding all the way into the Dorito one. And I'm like, you can't do that on grass, right? Like, that's just not how it works. How much of an impact do you think that had, like the turf had, on the way the layout played?
I think it had some. I mean, obviously, especially because it was muddy even before Sunday and stuff. So totally. I think it had it, and that was really, really new and nice turf in Portugal. So, like, it wasn't like I don't know how long it had been there, but it was, I think it somewhat, but I think there's lots of things going on. Because, I mean, Europe is at a little bit lower of a level than the U.S. as a whole. And then also, I've always felt like paint in Europe is not as good. So I think all those things combined kind of add up to stuff. So that's it's not as much as you think, though. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think on this layout, having a dry field is certainly going to lend an additional advantage to some teams, right? A dry field is going to be a big portion of that. There's going to be a little bit more aggression, I think. You couple that with the fact that, Joey, maybe something I was going to ask you about, some of these teams who have had time to prepare, whereas maybe they haven't found certain shots, or maybe they haven't done this, but perhaps they're using certain personnel have now stepped up and are playing a lot better, or maybe there's a mix on the personnel, so scouting might be a different factor. Just things, out of the blue like that could play towards this. But I think you make a legitimate point that, hey, man, what got us here, and we're just going to bang, so let's go.
Yeah, so I think, it's almost bad if other personnel steps up at this point, because what got you there is the personnel you were using. So if on Ryan's team, if all of a sudden, Mark's just killing everyone up the middle, and he only played half the points last time, and now he's your main guy to do the middle stuff. Like, it's going to affect the chemistry. It's going to affect how everything is played out from before. So I don't know. I honestly believe that you're going to see a lot of the same shit that we saw in Texas, maybe a little faster because the ground's better. Maybe a little bit of a different personnel packages for some teams because maybe someone's injured or something got hurt or whatever. Because, you know, there's always that part of it too that no one's really talking about yet, that I'm confident there's going to be guys that have some kind of injury that, you know, they didn't have there that could affect them here. So, I mean, there's going to be a lot of that stuff, but at the end of the day, it's going to be the teams with the rosters that can go, that have the ability to turn on Sunday paintball on Thursday, which I think that is the biggest thing. And for some of the new teams like ML Kings and Blast Camp, even Revo, they're not a new team, but a lot of those guys are new to that team. Having to go from get off a plane, walk the field on Wednesday to playing quarterfinals, wild cards, and semifinals and finals in one day, it's a big ask for a lot of these newer guys. Not to say they can't do it, just to say it's going to be a big, tall order for those guys. And it's going to be a big, tall order for all of us, right? But I think, and there's no room. You can't fuck up. You fuck up one time, and that's it. Like, your day's over, and you're getting ready for AC.
Yeah, it's weird. I think that it's such a weird thing when you think about mindset and kind of that emotional swing that occurs through that 3 days, right? And then having to come in and be at that, like, emotion, not the peak, right? But like kind of at the cusp of where you want to be, like really close to that edge of like of intensity and emotional output and those kind of things. It's going to be interesting to see how quickly teams can get that turned on, because I think the teams that do get it turned on the quickest are going to be the teams that have success, right? The teams that kind of start slow, and we're pretty famously, for starting a little bit slow. We did a good job at the last event, but that was one time out of the last 5-6 times these guys have played together. So like, I think the teams that can really get that turned on very quickly have a good opportunity. And I also agree that you maybe see different, like we talked about this last weekend at practice, like you're going to see some probably different lineup packages, but the reality is that player who's being plugged in for X, right? The Y player who's being plugged in for X is doing the same shit. He's going to go to the same place that other guy was, right? Maybe he runs a little bit differently, but the reality is he's going to the same place. He's going to occupy the same space. So it's not like it's going to be some sort of, nobody was able to find anything, I'm sure, in 6 weeks that you're going to go, oh my God, like nobody knew that was there. You guys, all these guys are too good. They're too good to think that we're going to have found something really weird in 6 weeks, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, totally agree with that. All right. Well, let's move on to Atlantic City, because I think this is the most interesting thing, right? We're going to have this pre-show, and it's funny, SK was like, how are we even going to do this? And I was like, I don't know. Let's have a shitload of fun with it and see what happens, right? So we'll do some picks, right? But they're kind of based on emotion, because we don't have brackets. We don't have a field layout to kind of look at. We think the layout is going to be set up in a way that's supposed to be fast. We all know that all the good teams are going to figure out how to slow it down quickly. That's just the way it works. I'm sure Joey and Mike, you guys are really good, and so are your players, really good at being able to find those spaces. Like, here's where we need to be to get control. We're going to kill 1 or 2 guys, and these are the spaces we have to occupy, right? So I don't think it matters how quick the layout is. They build, we'll find a way to slow it down. So we're going to pick 10 teams that we think are going to make it onto Sunday. And again, it's just going to be kind of like, here's what I think. Before we get into that, let's kind of talk really quickly about who do we think is going to have the best benefit? Or is it going to be the teams that have veteran guys who understand how to walk a field, or maybe a certain coach who's, has a veteran perspective and understands how to think critically and can do those things, even though the players may be younger? What are your thoughts on that? SK, we'll start with you.
I think the teams that have an advantage are all the teams that didn't make it. Like, they're not going to be tired after, let's say Damage makes the finals. Those guys are going to be tired after 3. Like, and then you're going to walk the field and then go have a 2-hour meeting. Yeah.
2-hour meeting.
I don't think I don't think the veteran stuff makes that much of a difference on a blind layout, and if anything, I think it matters less.
Mike, yeah, that's an interesting point. Yeah, I someone was talking about this, and I don't remember who it was, but I remember thinking, wow. They said, the determining factor was going to be gunfighting. And I remember thinking, okay, that's certainly an opinion. I think, SK, you're right? There's always that chance of injuries for the teams that are playing, or they might be banged up a little bit. They also have to switch that mindset immediately from, okay, we just completed this event, we're starting the next one the next day. That may or may not be an advantage. Me personally, I think it's going to come down to two things for me is paintball IQ, right? Which is, hey, the field walking aspect of teams. So maybe you could classify that as veteran thinking, but I think field walking, preparation, being able to, that strategic thinking, that tactical thinking. And then in this case, maybe the first day, some aggression, some unbridled aggression, some overhand rights. See what happens from there, and then figuring it out, and then seeing that game change on Saturday. So me personally, I think there is something to the veteran aspect. Ultimately, though, I think it's just gonna boil down to a good field walk and executing the game plan ultimately. So, come up with an idea and then stick with it and make sure it's working.
Yeah, Joey.
Kind of what SK said, maybe a little bit, but on the same note, I could argue the other side of that and say that the teams that had 3 matches on Thursday to warm up are going to be a little bit more on point, and especially the team that wins, because they know they're already in Sunday mindset. I think all of us as coaches, if we could go to our guys and get them in Sunday mindset on Friday and have that carry through Saturday and Sunday, or intensify as we go, that would be a huge advantage. So I think for some of the season teams like Skinnies, I agree, especially when you got, 3 guys that are 40 plus on your team, bro. You guys don't want to play that many matches. There's a good chance someone could die or, break something easily. So without a doubt, I mean, my team's old, but your team, gee, Merry Christmas. So yeah, I mean, I see both sides of it, but I honestly think it's going to come down to who could figure it out the fastest, right? So far we've done 2 blind layouts a couple years back, Texas and the one in Sacramento. Obviously, everyone didn't play both the blind layouts, but you could tell the difference between the really experienced teams and the other ones, the ones that figured it out the fastest. It was that's also a hard one to really, can't judge it all on that, because the bracket that we were in was us, Dynasty, X Factor, AC, and Infamous, which that's the 5 teams that could make Sunday right there. So that was a rough bracket, but I honestly think that shows you why that bracket was so rough too, is because that's 5 of the most experienced teams in the whole league. So I think experience is going to trump the new stuff a little bit, but it could also be, depending on the layout, that stuff that you see on Saturday, the first day of the layout, or Friday in the first day of the layout, where guys are just scudding everywhere. If they try that and it works, you're going to be like, shit, I don't know their shots to kill that guy yet. So that may work to their benefit. Honestly, man, my biggest thing is we just have to go out as Damage, is just go out and execute. It doesn't matter what the layout it is. It doesn't matter who you play. None of that stuff really matters. If we go out and we play to our potential, it won't matter. And I'm sure Skinny will have the same talk with his guys, and you'll have the same talk with yours, Mike, and you'll have the same talk with yours, Ryan. I mean, that's the basics of all of this. It's if you get beat, it's okay. If you lose, it's not okay. And there's a big difference, and a lot of people need to remember that too. Like, getting beat is someone's better than you. Losing is you screwed up, right? So just don't lose.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think it really matters on that. I don't think it really matters, experience, layout, all that other crap. I think it's just whoever comes out and has the least amount of mistakes. That's all it's going to come down to.
Yeah. No, I agree. I've thought a lot about kind of how some of these teams will operate, like with, a field walk and creating plans and those kind of things. And then I do like to try to keep things simple if I can. And as I was thinking through the whole thing, I was like, holy shit, I'm not doing that myself, right? Like, it's simple. You're going to find some key spots on the field. You're going to run a few tests. But I do think on day 1 on Friday, teams will be able to steal some points with chaos. right? You're going to see some points being stolen with chaos. But I'm also still of the mindset that if you do the right thing the majority of the times, you win the majority of the points, right? Like weird things will work here and there, but the reality is they probably won't win matches, right? Or win points, but probably not matches. I do think, though, teams that have some veteran guys who are used to kind of what I think Heat, Dynasty, Damage for sure, even the Hurricanes, you guys have guys on your teams who've walked fields. They understand how to walk a field and then just go play it, right? Versus the repetition that we normally get and the tempo and muscle memory that comes with, that constant action that we do in the breakout drills and that kind of thing. I do think that there is some advantage to guys who can just kind of look at a field and walk out there and play it. Joey, you got a bunch of guys who've done that. Well, all three of you do. You got several guys on your team who used to walk 7-8 fields and then go out and play them in 7-man. So I do think there is some advantage to that. Whether or not, though, it makes a difference, I don't know, right? I don't know. We'll see.
I think it's the great equalizer. I think to Joey's point, the last blind layout in Lone Star, Damage won, and Hurricanes made our first Sunday at our second event, and it's
Impact.
The great equalizer. Impact. So you've got these blind layouts like that with teams that are comfortable not having to sit there and spend 3, 6, 7, in some cases 10 days on a layout. Now we're all starting from scratch, and we're gonna see what we're gonna see. So I think it's the great equalizer, and I think Joey makes excellent points. So does SK and you, Ryan. I think everyone's made excellent points about this. It's going to be exciting, that's for sure.
All right. Well, let's jump into these picks. Who wants to go first? Give me 10 teams you think are going to make it on.
Man, I think SK should go first.
I can go. I already wrote them down.
All right, give them to me.
Well, I'll pick myself. So Dynasty. I will pick Damage, Red Legion, Impact, Revo, Heat, Hurricanes, X Factor, Infamous, and Aftermath.
Revo. Okay, Dynasty, Damage, Legion, Impact, Revo, Heat.
Hurricanes, X Factor, Infamous, and Aftermath.
Impact, Aftermath. I missed one. I have Dynasty, Damage, Legion, Impact, Revo, Heat, Hurricanes, Impact, Aftermath.
Infamous, he said.
Infamous.
Yeah, and X Factor in there. You said that earlier.
Did you get his X Factor in there, Ryan? Okay.
I count 11 teams, though.
Smart.
You got a sleeper in there. So, well played. I was going to do the same thing.
Yeah, I count. Well, just so you know, when I made my list the first time, I had 11 teams.
I did not. I just literally wrote them right here. They're right here. So
Dynasty, Damage, Legion. Well, Dynasty, Damage, Legion, Impact, Revo, Heat, Hurricanes. I got Impact twice. That's it.
Yeah.
There it is.
Got it.
That's still 10 teams.
Yep. Joey?
Hold on, I didn't know we had homework. You just dropped the shit on me.
Mike. Well, you came in last minute since Shane couldn't be here, so
I know. I'm like a third-rate citizen here.
Now we need to bring you into more of these.
We do.
Fun.
We really do. I think it is fun. So I don't like to walk into rooms I don't know how to walk out of. In this case, I'm probably still going to stub my toe. So I did some math based off what my predictions finishing out in AC. So my tiers.
Season rankings?
Yeah. So I did that real quick. I did kind of. I
did
wouldn't call
the
it
same
cheating.
thing.
I would just call it. I'm going to think this through just a little bit because it's not going to tell us jack because it's still a random pick. You just know the tiers.
Right.
So I still think tier 1, and if X Factor ends up finishing in the top 2, then that's going to knock the Hurricanes out of tier 1 into tier 2. Your tier 1 would be Russians, X Factor, Heat, and Dynasty. And then tier 2 would be Hurricanes, Damage, Revo, and Iron Men. Anyway, so on and forth. And if you want me to keep going, Tier 3 would be Bears,
No.
Impact, Aftermath.
No, I'm good.
Aftershock. Okay.
I already wrote
All
my
right,
10
good.
down.
All right, so
put a
here
lot
are
of
my
thought into
10
this.
then. I'm sure I can tell. That fast brain of yours.
Yeah.
So my 10 are Russians, X Factor, Heat, us, the Hurricanes, Damage, Impact, Aftermath, Diesel, Dynasty, and I'm trying to decide between Iron Man or Aftershock. So go to Joey, and then I'll come back with my.
All right,
last
Joey,
one.
give them to me.
Damage wins AC. We beat Dynasty in the finals. X Factor, Heat, Impact, Russian Legion, Shock, Hurricanes, AC.
Slow down. Good God. All right, Damage.
Damage, Dynasty, X Factor, Heat, Impact, Russian, Shock, Hurricanes, AC, and Revo. I would have given Infamous the nod, but they were real bad at the last one, and I don't feel comfortable with that. They're going to have to show me something before they get any face by me. And I'm sure they got to show themselves something before they even believe in themselves at this point.
That's a good point. And I was going to bring them up here in a second.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike. Who's your last one?
All right, so the momentum from the Iron Men, right? And then Aftershocks finally coming in their own, showing. I'm fans of both teams. I think for the blind though, I'm gonna go ahead and give it to Aftershock.
Okay.
I think it's a great pick.
PJ Strother said NYX will do better this event. God, I hope so, man.
Yes,
I
they
hope
will.
you're right.
But that won't be top 10. No disrespect.
Yeah, I hope you're right. Because, I mean, as a fan, I want to see them do better. Like, watching them at the last event wasn't fun. All right, I have AC, Revo, Dynasty, Shock, Impact, Heat, Ironman, Canes, X Factor, Damage. I did not put Russian Legion in because I don't know how they're going to do without all the repetition. We'll see.
Yep.
I think it'll be tougher for them not understanding their script, and we'll see. I used to play them a lot when they were.
If Rabikov shows up like he did at the last event, it won't matter. Those guys all have a good fundamental gun games. They just run around and shoot shit, and he closes the point out.
Yeah, last two events,
I actually
Justin
asked
has been
Kirill.
amazing.
He has, and I asked Kirill. I said, Kirill, without your standard process, how do you think you're going to do on a blind layout? And he goes, well, we got Rabikov.
Yeah.
And I thought that was an interesting answer. So, but no, that's
great
an excellent
answer.
point, Ryan.
Yeah, it's a great answer. Great answer. Okay, so let's talk about a couple of things really quick from Texas. One, let's start with you. So Dynasty, I didn't think you guys played necessarily bad, but not to the level in which we've kind of, and I think even in Vegas, you guys sort of scraped through the preliminary rounds, got into the Sunday rounds, and of course, won the event. Texas seemed to have a few more bumps. I know Marcelo gets hurt in one of the matches, wasn't able to play the rest of it, but then able to play the next day. What do you think it was? Was it the layout that was kind of throwing you guys off? Was it, what was happening that Dynasty, didn't have the event that we're used to seeing you guys have?
I think it's easy. I think there's other stuff that happens in your life other than paintball. Three people had children. Marcelo definitely got hurt, and then and there was a bunch of other stuff going on as well. So that's not an excuse. It's just what happened. So, and we lost 3 overtime points. We win one of those, we move on. So, did we play well? No. But were we last place? Also no. So,
yeah. So external things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mike, I don't want to talk about you guys anymore. We've talked about it too many times already, I feel like. And then Infamous, right? That was something I kind of wanted to get you guys touch on. Like, I kind of said I commentated one of their games with Maddie, and it was really weird. They just couldn't seem to find their identity on this layout. I know Jonah being hurt was a challenge, and having Brusselback playing the Snake, who, did a fine job. He's not a normal Snake guy who's going to go down and win points for you when the time becomes, when it becomes that time. So what were you guys' thoughts on Infamous? Mike, we'll start with you.
I just felt like if you go back and you watch their matches, their mid-game scramble, their closing just wasn't there. Their closing wasn't there in Vegas, and I can speak to that twice. So something was happening. They, believe it or not, it seemed like they were actually doing very well. They were executing well, winning a lot of the breakouts actually. But their mid-game scramble and then their close, it was like they were discombobulated. They weren't connected. It seemed like a lot of individual paintball at the end.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a lot of closing, a good clean closing at all.
Yeah. Joey?
I think them not having Jonah hurt them a lot on that layout. I think if he's out there, obviously they got 6-0 or 6 twice, but the other games that were close, he's out there. He squeezes a point here or there. And even in the games they got 6, if he squeezes a point when it's, 3-0, now it's 3-1, it changes the way the other team attacks that layout and the way they play against them. So one player does make a difference. I don't care who you are. It's somebody who can be a difference maker. And when Jonah's on in the snake, he's a difference maker. That's not a knock against their other guys, but I also know Jonah practiced all the way up to the last day when he hurt himself. So their game plan was, at best splitting rips and him and ZP playing together. But when you dump it all on one guy and say, good luck, ZP, that's a lot. When he was splitting it with him before that, or you grab Russell back off the Dorito side and say, hey, buddy, time to be a snake player again. Like, obviously he can do it, but I promise you he didn't play the snake 100 points during those 3 days or 4 days that they practiced. So that makes a big, big difference. And a lot of people don't quite understand, but it does. Like, it changes a shitload.
Yeah, agreed. That's kind of why I mentioned it, right? Like, I think if he's there, he is going to steal a couple of points for them, right? Like when we played them, we gave very little attention to the snake side of the field because he wasn't there, SK, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like all the people here have already had a bad event. Like, I think that was theirs. Like, I mean, all 4 of us have had a terrible event out of 2 tournaments already. So I thought they played good in Vegas. So I don't know.
Yeah, they were a 1-on-1 away from being in the semifinals. I mean,
exactly.
I think you just proved my point. You just literally proved my point. What did they have in Vegas? They didn't have in Texas. Jonah. So I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
I love it.
And so
to your
one
point,
other team I wanted
Joey, there's oh, I'm sorry, Ryan. I was just going to say Joey's point real quick. You're right. That 1 point game change, right? It changes that. It makes that other team adjust, and it does something to the point margin even that might have seen them, not end up with that finish that they did. So no, I think Jonah, it was impactful, especially on this layout. He was sorely missed. So.
Yeah, so one other team I kind of wanted to bring up was Aftermath. Aftermath, 4th place in Atlantic City, played pretty well. Kind of same kind of thing a little bit in the preliminary rounds, kind of struggled. I don't want to say struggled, but had some battles, right? And then make it on to Sunday, end up 4th place for the event, and then kind of show up in Texas. I know they had that one kind of boneheaded thing in the overtime point, so I don't want to talk too much about that. But then it also seemed like really in their other matches, they looked out of sorts. They didn't look like – normally when I think of Aftermath now, I think of a pretty controlled team. They play a lot like Joey, your group, and Mike's group. Maybe not as controlled and disciplined, but close, right? Like there were a couple times in Vegas where they went to 5 spots and never left and won those points, just crossed up well, shot guys trying to make moves through space. What do you think it was with Aftermath? Do you think that penalty potentially, set something weird? Like a weird vibe for the rest of the event, or do you think it was something else? SK, we'll start with you this time.
Well, they just like messing it up badly anytime I pick them. So, I think that has everything to do with it. But that same guy that messed up the penalty played the best in Vegas.
Played great.
It's just like one of those things. Like, I do think Aftermath had one small advantage that I'm not sure other teams have, is all their guys coach teams in the WC, and those are all blind layouts. So they are at least used to that. Like, I don't know if that will help, but at least they've done it before. So I think that might help a little bit. So I don't know. That's my thought.
Being a coach, that could be good or bad. Because they could come with 10 completely different ideas and be really stuck on it. So, Joey, what are your thoughts on Aftermath?
I think it's similar to like we were talking about with Infamous. One team, they did well at the first event and they sucked at the second event. We all have sucked at one event this year already too. So, I mean, this league is very, very, very unforgiving. You make mistakes, you lose key players, it's going to cost you. I'm sure they'll be better than they were. I don't know how they'll do on a blind layout just because they haven't played at this level on a blind layout against people at this level on a blind layout. So, how fast they digest it will be what it is. I just think that I think that they still need to learn a lot about themselves and themselves being a team. So I'm not sold that they're going to be it right now. I think they'll be way more competitive though, for sure.
Yeah. Mike?
Yeah. I will go back to that one little element. I think we were talking at the beginning of the show about mindset coming from AC, coming from the finishing up the Texas and going to AC. Joey and SK both made great aspects about the mindset of players. I think you're dominant, you're going to win that match, and then that happens. And I think maybe adversely affects some mindset, and maybe there's a small trust issue, maybe not for the whole team, but maybe for a couple of guys. And you start seeing a little shift, from a mindset perspective. I do like the fact that at SK brought up the point that several of them coach in the WCPPL, which is all blind layouts. But to your point, Ryan, I mean, you got 10 different ideas and nobody's agreeing on those 10 different, that could be chaos, right? That could be a big problem. But those guys do play a lot of paintball. I mean, they're playing every weekend. So they should be very familiar with each other, and that very much is a strength, and that's one of the reasons why I think they're probably going to do well at this one.
Yeah, kind of the one I wanted to finish with just was Impact. I kind of expected Impact to do well. Like, I thought they would play more like – go ahead.
Yeah, someone was giggling.
Oh. Yeah, I thought SK was going to say something. I was like, we'll say it.
Oh, no, not at all.
Okay.
Although I do think your Red Legion pick is crazy. I thought you knew all of them couldn't get visas. Like, that's what I was thinking.
No.
I was like, oh, okay.
I had some real inside info, not some fucking hanky-panky bullshit. I was like, shit. Oh, no Kirill, no Malloy, no Sergey? Yeah, they are fucked.
No. They'll all be here as far as I know. So, Impact, though, this was a layout I thought they would do really well on, especially after we played our first match and I saw, Joey and the Russians play. I was like, man, this is a layout I think Impact should do really well on. And really kind of struggled. They lose a match to Chicago Aftershock, who was, just on a full-on barn burner, 4-1, win one match, 3-2 against the Kings, and then lose a match by 1 and lose another match by 1. So their matches are close. I just thought the Impact would be pretty dominant on the Dallas layout. I mean, all their guys were there. It seemed like Brandon was playing well. Like, the guys you think were going to play well. I didn't really see that they had much of a force up the middle of the field, which I thought Nick was just going to go crazy up there. What did you guys see that, maybe Impact was missing in Texas that obviously they'll try to repair for this AC layout? Joey, start with you this time.
Again, I mean, not to lean on it, but this year has been one of those years, man. Like, all the tops have fallen, all the bottoms have risen. I don't think they did anything wrong. I just think the competition has gotten so much better that the mistakes you can make are so much smaller that one mistake, cost you a match. That one match cost you the tournament. Obviously they went 1-3, but they had 2 of the 3 matches were 1 point, right?
Yeah.
So
overtime against the Hurricanes and a 1-point loss to the Brooklyn Bears.
Yeah, so that's literally, Mike happened to set a gun up in the right spot to catch one guy on the break, and that's how they got ahead by 1, right? Like, it's literally so close right now in the competition. that I don't think there's anything they really need to do except show up and show out. I mean, I take that back a little bit. Dalton was hot garbage on Saturday, which he won't be hot garbage all the time. So if Dalton shows up, I think that team's going to do better for sure. But he did not have a good Saturday.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. Mike?
Well, as the team that, they went up on us by 2, and then we recognized pretty much what was happening. It felt like they were leaning heavily on Urena, and we just keyed up, and then we took away their center, and then basically, stalled their Dorito side attack and let them kill themselves. And the reason why is we did have somewhat of an advantage. They were definitely going for the point margin. They knew that if they could win by a certain amount of points, they could make it into the wild card. So they were pressing for that and playing hyper aggressive. So we just keyed up on it and let them kill themselves. So as far as everything else, I think Joey's right. I think, like you said, everyone's going to have a bad event. We've all had them, and from our win was simply based on the fact that they were going for the margin and we were going for pride. So
yeah. SK, you got anything to add?
No, I think they just lost some players at the beginning of the year, and they haven't rebalanced themselves to figure out who knows what yet. Like, I think that's really what it is.
So you think there's still some cohesion things that need to happen there? Still trying to figure out.
They lost. Yeah, exactly. They lost 2 great players last year. So then yes, they picked up Mikey, but it's still you still have to fit those new guys in. So I think it just takes time.
Balance is a good word. I think you're right.
Well, let's kind of finish talking about the ESPN thing, and then we'll let you guys drop off, and we'll close this thing out. So what are our thoughts on the ESPN thing? I've heard that there may be some ask to the players and teams that make the finals, like, hey, let's try to play with some tempo and that kind of thing. What are our thoughts there? SK, we'll start with you.
I don't know. I don't think it's whatever it is. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. I think but it's really tough for a team to, put on a show in the finals. Especially if it's teams that haven't made it there before. That's really tough to ask that team. I don't know. That's a really tough thing to ask, but I don't know. If it's more cameras or whatever and makes the show better, cool. But at the same time, I think that's really hard to ask. A team to change everything just for the finals.
Yeah. Joey, I can see it on your face.
Joey. I can too. I was like, go to Joey.
No, I can see it. Let it go, pal. Let it all out.
I think going on ESPN is great. I think asking me to change anything as your customer is a little bit selfish on your part. We're going to do whatever we did to get there, and we're going to do that in the finals. Until this becomes the WWE and we have scripts and we're all getting paid millions of dollars, we're going to go out and we're going to do what got us to the dance, and we're going to do what we have to do to win. All my guys are incentive-based with bonuses, and I promise you, whatever it is, but my guys want to win. All we want to do is win. We don't play this for any other reason. Not to say we're not going to be aggressive, because if it's a layout where we have to be aggressive to win, we will be aggressive to win. But if it is a layout where if you're aggressive, you're going to lose, then there is absolutely zero chance I'm going to go out and purposely be aggressive to lose so that this one episode on ESPN looks pretty. It's not anything mean. It's just the truth. I'm going out to win this event. So whatever it takes to win the event. If I have to be aggressive because the layout dictates it, I will. If not, I won't. That's it.
Yeah, I think a really good layout will help everything. Make it. That's how you solve the problem, not from the teams.
Did you guys play and sorry, Mike, we'll get to you in a second because I do want to hear your thoughts, but did you guys play the divisional layout at all?
Yep. Yeah,
it was
all
fun.
day, Saturday and Sunday. Yep.
Yeah, it was a cool layout.
Great layout.
We played it on Saturday. It was a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. Good time. I thought it was fast too.
I really enjoyed that layout. I did too.
Mike, what are your thoughts on the ESPN thing?
First of all, I agree with everyone. I think it's a great step in the right direction. I think it's going to do a lot of great things for the sport. I think the post production is a great idea, but I'm in Joey's camp. You know, I'm about risk mitigation. A win's a win. I don't care if I win 1-0, if I win 5-0. I'm a win's a win for me. So if I have to, you know, to his point, if hey, we really need you to play fast and exciting, yeah, okay. Go tell the other team to do that. Right.
We'll be back here. We'll be back here. We'll make it real exciting for you.
I'll do it
Exactly.
too.
Yeah.
Right. So
it's so funny you said that, because that was my first thought is one team's gonna go, yeah, of course we will, and the other team's gonna go, yeah, us too. Right. And then just like, come on. Come on.
So if it actually does happen and Damage is in the finals, of course we'll be aggressive. I was just joking about all that other stuff.
Sure.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. Yeah. I just, this is good. This is just good for the channel.
Yeah. I can't tell, this kid Spaced in the chat keeps saying weird things, and I can't tell if he's being serious or not. He literally asked, do people still watch ESPN? Yes, it's the number one watched celestial and streaming channel through their app in America. Yeah, people still watch ESPN for sure. Largest NFL contracts, NBA contract. Yes, people still watch ESPN. If you still pay for celestial cable, it is the largest part of the bill that you pay goes to ESPN. So yeah, correct. The show that will be on gets an average of 250,000-ish views at the time it shows, and then on re-shows it gets anywhere from 3.5 to 5 million views on average as it re-shows. So yeah, people still watch ESPN for sure.
Right, and the paintball
and they're going to have
should up those. Yeah, the paintball community should up those numbers for the 200K. So.
Yeah, and they're going to have a ton of cameras. That's one of the reasons that the divisional layout, the divisional teams will not be playing on the layout, is they're going to take those 3 hours that normally the divisional teams will be playing, and they're going to put up a ton of cameras. I don't know what else they're going to do, but they're going to put a ton of cameras up. Yeah. So, well, thank you guys for doing this with us. You got any last thoughts before we let you go? You want to talk any shit, Joey?
I think I've talked enough shit. At this point, I'm gonna go out and do whatever the NXL needs us to do to be successful on ESPN, and God bless America.
Yeah.
God bless America. Absolutely.
I think that's talking shit technically. Sorry.
No, it's not. I think you're right.
In today's society, it kind of is.
Yeah, like you kind of want to be like, you do want to do the right thing for the sport, but like the first thing is you got to make sure that it's the right thing for your team. And I get it. Right. Yeah. Yeah. SK, anything?
Yeah, I want to talk shit. So first,
all right, let it go.
Todd Adamson, I'm not a dad. I'm not a dad. He texted me Happy Father's Day, and I was like, I don't think I'm a dad, so that threw me off altogether. And it says he's in the chat. I don't know if that's him or not.
You got 10 cats. You got 10 kids that you coach, some of which are.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it was like a mystery kid I didn't know about. That's possible. The other two things, I would like to call out Major League Paintball, because I still don't have a trophy, and I would like to call Icon out because I still don't have a 22 trophy. So fix it.
For what? What do you need a trophy for?
I like the only thing I care about is plastic trophies. That's it. I don't care about anything else.
Okay.
So you don't have the trophy for Vegas, and you don't.
My name fell off the trophy. Yeah, that one just my letters fell off the trophy, and I don't have anything yet, so I don't know.
Yeah.
And you want your iconic award? The other one.
Yeah, from 2022. Yeah. So I'm going to call Quinn out on that one. So, yeah.
Gentlemen, we will see you tomorrow. Joey, SK, and I all have incredibly early flights. I don't know what time Mike leaves, but I have to leave my house at 3:30 in the morning. Joey, I think, is about the same. SK, 4:30?
Yeah.
West Coast time.
Yeah.
So you're going to you're going to be awesome when you show up at the event. That's going to be great. Mike, what time do you leave?
I'll be leaving my house at 4:30 a.m. However, that will be on Thursday.
Oh, he doesn't have to come early.
Oh,
I guess that's a good thing about sucking there.
Oh wow.
It's not
Damn.
it's not so much that I'm not allowed. It's that I couldn't afford it. It was cheaper on Thursday than it was Wednesday.
Yeah,
Flights
this
were
was
You coulda drove.
not a cheap flight. Or this whole event is not cheap. Let's not go there though. Let's not go there. More shit
Yeah.
talk is going to spew.
But have you seen the weather?
Yeah, I
It
did.
looks great.
Like low 80s, high 60s at night, and no rain in the forecast. Should be absolutely gorgeous event. And I love like where the event is. I don't love Atlantic City, but I like where the event is. Like the scenery is cool. Should make for a great event. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks again for doing this. Really appreciate you both. Go get some sleep.
Yeah,
Thanks.
brothers.
Appreciate it. See you guys later.
See
See you, boys.
I do want
All
to
right,
send
man.
a big shout out. That was honestly, I love having those two on. I love having any of the pro coach, but specifically those two because, you know, it's so fun and I love their insight. It's a good time. It's a good time.
We got to add Joey to the pre-shows from now on.
We do.
Like we just got to add him to the pre-shows. Yeah,
we do.
So,
and what we can do is we can adjust and we can remove like the first event technically, and then get him back in the pool if he wants. But
we'll still just do our thing for all 5, but then we'll add Joey to the last 3 and we'll create something else.
Okay, we'll do something separate that way. I need to send a big shout out. Now I know we've taken some hits on the cameras tonight. Okay,
Your
one
camera.
thing we should
have
have
said
taken
mine too, but mine's HD and on HD, so I don't know what he's talking about.
Well,
you can see you can literally see beard hair.
Hang on a minute. All right, let me go to my settings. I purposely knocked down right to that there. Now I am going to go into full definition, and if I start dragging, it's going to make me mad. But I purposely do that, guys, so that I don't drag. But anyway, and I've got the blurred on the system on the camera behind me so that you guys can't see all my cool stuff on the wall. But I did want to send a shout out to Tony from American Paintball Coliseum. All right. He did an incredible thing for me, and I want to say thank you. So if the audio is better for Coach Bianca tonight, ladies and gentlemen, you have Tony from American Paintball Coliseum to thank for that. Thank you, Tony. God bless you again. I gave you a shout out on the Z-Log, but I'm giving you a shout out here on the Coaches Show because what you did was incredibly kind, and I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, just so you guys know, we're completely self-funded, so we have to buy all of our own equipment and everything. And you know, if you are watching us on Facebook and want to send us some stars, that is helpful. Although Facebook keeps a bunch of that money, but we're completely self-funded. So when you guys want us to get better equipment, we do too. We just comes out of our own pocket. So appreciate the feedback, but like we can't do that until we'll do more clinics, and that's how we get money to put into the show. So Jarrett, great question,
knows the
man.
Hurricanes are broke.
That's right. Yeah. Was the divisional layout able to be controlled? Yes. This is my perspective, and then I'll let Mike answer your question. We controlled it by being aggressive. We didn't try to slow it down. Like there are spaces once you got really far down the Dorito side that you can do some things, but the reality is the answer is no if you're talking about being able to control it from the back. But there were certainly ways to control it once you got up into the 50s, and you just got to make moves. You got to make, especially on the Dorito side. There's so little that can stop you over there. You got to get involved early. I mean, if you put a little pressure down the snake side and pull that Towers gun over there, that Dorito side just becomes, it's a track race over there. So a lot of fun.
Right. Yeah, you stole my thunder. If you're going to control it, take ground, right? Be aggressive, take ground, and win the break, right? You can control it if you shoot 2 on the break and it's a 5-on-3. It's much easier to be controlled, but I agree 100%. You will not control that layout from the back. It's not happening. That tower is a pivot. The Mayan and the cans are pivots. The Dorito side, you're not going to control anything with a straight-up gunfight. It's going to have to be angular. And then that snake's pretty powerful, and the center's pretty powerful. So, yeah, take ground, and that's how it's controlled.
Yeah, good question. Anybody else have anything about the divisional layout or anything else before we jump off here? We will see you guys next Tuesday with a kind of double after event show, since we'll be talking about kind of the close of Texas, and which is going to be awesome because we have a huge break between this event and Chicago, so we're going to have a lot of stuff to talk about, which is awesome for the show. We will do a full Team USA episode. We'll get Marcelo Margada in here. We will get Anthony Vitale in here to kind of talk Team USA. We're going to be bringing some of the Team USA coaches in. I believe SK is coaching the men's team again. So along Mike and I are going to be there to help him out, which we're super excited about. I believe it's SK. I still see him nod if you're still coaching the Team USA. Yep, he is. So
yes.
Yep.
And he's wearing the shirt.
So SK will be coaching Team USA. So we'll kind of get him back in here too on that episode. And then also 2 weeks from now, you guys are going to be we have a great show. It's going to be Mike Bianca and whomever he has with him, because I am not going to be here because I'm going to be on a cruise to Alaska, which he is just hearing about for the very first time. So that'll be really exciting for him and for you guys. Nonetheless, if you have anything during that break time, if there's anything you guys want us to talk about, breakdown, whatever, please shoot us a message on any of our social media channels. Also, remember, like, share, subscribe, do all the things to make sure we are supporting paintball in a meaningful way. I also want to add this ESPN thing literally is just a step in the right direction, right? This is not going to be the thing that like saves tournament paintball and we're all of a sudden all getting paid, but it puts us in a position to be able to, I shouldn't say us, it puts the powers that be in a position where they can leverage that to be able to help us to get more outside influence. This is a step in the right direction for us. And we as a community, it's important that we do the right thing and try to support it in a meaningful way. So make sure that you are showing that we have viewers. One of the ways you can do that is subscribe to the channel. If you're watching on Facebook, also, please make sure and go like Major League Paintball on the NXL page. If you already are, then you're just a step ahead. But please also follow us. We really appreciate you. Everybody else, we will see you very, very soon. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Coaches Show. Thank you to our amazing guests, Kevin Bredthauer and Joey, and our WNXL correspondent, Hailey Leyva. Major League Paintball for the support of the show, Alex Sorensen, Kevin Fillers, and Tom Cole. If you want to elevate your game, get the best knowledge in paintball at bkipaintball.com. Use promo code Coaches Show. The link is literally in the description of the show. The show has been brought to you by Maxed Sportswear. When needed, get Maxed. You can also buy Coaches Show gear, which we will have a brand new hoodie and top for the Chicago event. And if you sign up for our clinic, you're going to get a free shirt, and that'll be the new shirt. So that link is also in. If you're on Facebook, it's up there. If you're on YouTube, it's down there. But the link to sign up is right there. Again, it's going to be kind of a one-on-one field walking tournament preparation course. We did one in Texas. It was awesome. I'm Ryan Gray with Mike Bianca, as always. Sorry? Capped at 30.
Is this capped at 30? Okay.
Capped at 30. Yeah. We had 29 at the last one, and it was perfect. Mm-hmm. So we were gonna do 40, but we're gonna cap it at 30. So all of our European listeners, we will have all the information for the Drew Clinic in the next, I'm hoping, couple of days. As soon as we get back from Atlantic City, hopefully we'll be able to know exactly when that's going to be. It will more than likely be Thursday afternoon. As soon as Nations Cup is over, we'll jump in and do our coaches clinic there. May also bring in a guest coach with us to that one. You guys might know him. He was just in here a little bit ago, since it's going to be there anyway. Although if they win, I probably won't be able to keep them away from beer long enough to do the clinic, but we'll see. So I'm Ryan Gray with Mike Bianca. As always, be responsible. Thanks, guys.
You know what that is? Discipline. Selfish.
No joke. We're legitimate.
Fucking do that? Then do it. Do it 100%, because I'm trying to.
We recognize that we are limitless.
You got to be a champion to become a champion, right? winning is a habit because we create habits that lead to good execution and success.